Hello there, and oh, hello, Cheren. Now, I've been thinking about Cheren, and he actually seems to me more like a nicer version of Gary from Gen 1. And speaking of which, I've been calling N the rival in this game in the previous parts, but I guess really Cheren and Bianca are the proper rivals. And I guess I called N a rival because he seems more of an antagonist rather than just a rival. And I guess that's the point of a rival, to be slightly an antagonist. I've always thought of Cheren and Bianca as sort of friends rather than rivals, but then again, your rival in the previous gen was slightly more of a friend. Speaking of which, I do prefer, all three of these guys, N, Bianca, and Cheren, over Barry any day. That little blonde so annoyed the hell out of me. But anyway, this is you can see I've got Jason Gordon Levitate, and like I said before, he's worth keeping for a while, particularly for the next boss and the next gym. He becomes very very useful for that character, and you'll see why. And there's a good use of the berries here, which I've said I don't really use that much, but hey, if I've got them, I'll use them. Well, I was saying that before, I said I don't like to use potions too much, and I think for the most part of this entire game I don't. Well, I use it to heal in between battles, but I guess what I mean is I don't like using potions, but berries seem like a better use of healing in battle because they're items Pokemon can hold. So to me they seem more legitimate, more fair. But like I said, you have to farm berries or find them. You can't just buy them. So yeah, that's why I don't really bother. Anyway, looks like we're gonna have a Purloin matchup here. Now, speaking of Tepig, something I realised about Tepig, and by the way, they used firefighting for the third time in a row, which I think bothered a lot of people. I wouldn't say it bothered me, but I thought, 3 times in a row, are you kidding me? Try a different type matchup, or just a pure fire type. But anyway, the reason why he's a firefighting type is because he's based off a pig from the story of Journey to the West. And also in Gen 4, Infernape, the sort of fire monkey Pokemon, he's also based off Sun Wukong, who's the character of a monkey in that book as well. And they're both martial artists, which is why they're both fighting types. I'm not sure why they're both fire types. I don't know, maybe they could have made Tepig a water type in this generation. Speaking of which, this is kind of going off on a bit of a tangent, but Samurott, the water Pokemon in this game, the water starter, he seems like he should be a water fighting, especially when you consider he's based off a samurai. But anyway, like I said, with Tepig, his final form looks like he should be Fire Dark, rather than Fire Fight. And I just hope in the 6th gen, Fennekin, he turns out to be something other than Fire Fighting. Maybe a Fire Psychic, or just a pure Fire type, whatever. But speaking of Journey to the West, the character of Pig and Sun Wukong, you might not know those characters as they are, but you might have heard of course, Dragon Ball Z. And of course the whole Dragon Ball series. The character of Son Goku is, clearly meant to be a parody of Sun Wukong. He's even like a primate with a tail. And of course the character of, that Pig character that was in Dragon Ball, he's clearly based off Pig as well. I'm completely lost about his name now. I'm gonna just have to Google it up. I'm usually very good with names. But anyway, I'm typing in Pig Dragon Ball. See what we get. Oolong. There we go. Now that I've got his name, it's just popped straight into my head. Oolong. Who actually did appear in Dragon Ball Z, but just in 5 scenes altogether. But anyway, I have to get back to the game I'm watching here because the plot is taking place. Anyway, I always did like Wukong. I mean Wukong, Oolong. Oh, now I'm getting his name mixed up with the monkey character. But anyway, I did always like Oolong, the little pervy pig. Although that seems to be quite a weird humour thing in Japan, to have a pervert character. I'm glad Pokemon didn't go down that route. And no, Brock doesn't count because I've never seen him like steal panties. He just talks to women. He doesn't try to attack them like the usual pervy character. But anyway, we're on a little Pokemon rescuing mission here. Now on this route you can catch an electric type Pokemon called Blitzel, which is sort of like an electric zebra. An electric zebra. Try saying that 3 times fast. An electric zebra. There we go. It's the electric zebra. Oh, that's really difficult to say, but I think that's just me. I've always had an unfortunate habit of slurring my words occasionally. But anyway, I do like the electric zebra. And also here's Pidove, the standard normal flying type. Again, I do have another flying type lined up, but I think Pidove can be useful. He can be a good flying type, and we'll see that later on when we have to face one. And speaking of the normal flying type, I do like Unpheasant, which is Pidove's final form. He's sort of well, for a start, he's colourful. He's sort of based off a pheasant, obviously. And like I was saying, I do have another flying type Pokemon lined up in this game, and so I'm just going to wait until I can catch one of those guys. It seems Tim Curry's attacks are actually quite damaging now, although it does help to be like 4 times, 4 levels higher than your opponent. Now, to talk about the character, the Pokemon Tim Curry, his ability is Unburden, which means he gets a speed boost whenever he loses an item. But you can also get a Purloin with the ability Limber, which means they're immune from paralyzation. they're immune from paralyzation. But unfortunately, I'm happy I don't have to switch out with the Purloin now. I'm glad that he can finally take down these Pokemon. Although granted, they are like first form little normal types here. Now, speaking of Pokemon in general, they've revealed a new Mew form today, which is Mew 3. Well, it doesn't have a name, but I think that's what the fans are going to call it. And at this point, it's not been confirmed whether it's going to be an entirely new Pokemon, you know, like another cloning attempt, or a new form of Mewtwo. And to me, this Mew 3 form, you know, what we've dubbed it, it seems, at first, it seems a bit weird to me. It looks a bit weird, especially since it's got its tail out of its head. Which, that just looks a bit iffy to me, but like I said, I didn't like it at first, but I've gotten used to it. I'm okay with it now. And my theory is, if they're going to introduce a new light type in the next gen, that new form of Mewtwo might be a psychic light type. And I don't know, there's just something about this Mew 3 form. It's very it's, for a start, it's lighter, it's smoother, it looks softer, more angelic. And speaking of which, like the thing on its head, to me, it looks like a halo. So I'm thinking maybe it will be a psychic light type, if they ever do introduce the light type. Which I've said before, I'm a bit sceptical if they're going to, because isn't fight sort of like the heroic type in Japan? So it could be a misunderstanding when it comes to translations.